Hello again, I'm Dan Morfitt, and this is your Daily Rundown on Channel 7. Welcome now to the show, our regular animal experts from Animals Intuition, Andrew Grantham. Thank you for coming back.
Hi, nice to meet you again.
Nice to meet you again,
excellent.
yeah.
Good to be back.
Now, he goes around schools, nursing homes, workplaces with people like Charlotte the tarantula.
Indeed, yes.
Lovely. Mr. Tickle the snake.
Indeed, yes.
And many, many more. And you've been on the show many, many times, and it's always a pleasure. So you brought in some more animals that kids see, adults see.
Yeah, so again, all of these animals, perfectly handleable. They're all my pets, live at home with me, and they're out and about all the time. We've got some smaller stuff and a little bit larger one to finish with this evening as well.
And what I've always noticed is your kids give all the animals names. We've got Sapphire. We'll find out why in a bit. We've got Matilda.
Yep.
We'll find out what Matilda is. But first, Harry and Hermione.
Yes.
What are Harry and Hermione?
So Harry and Hermione are tailless whip scorpions, or sometimes
Taylor Swift.
It sounds like Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift scorpion.
A tailless whip scorpion, and they're sometimes referred to as whip spiders. So they're part of the arachnid family.
Are they whip scorpions? Aren't they the ones with the tail
No,
and the?
Not to be confused with a whip scorpion. Whip scorpions are very venomous.
Okay, we'll call them Taylor Swift scorpions.
Taylor Swift scorpions, yeah.
Oh, we've lost them already.
We can find them. So let's see who we can get off first. I think we've got Harry again.
So are these scorpions or spiders then? You said they could be called whip spiders?
They can. So they're part of the arachnid family. So scorpions and spiders are arachnids. They have 8 legs and 2 body parts. These are quite unusual for arachnids in that they have 6 legs for mobility, and the 2 front legs here that you can see, the little jointed legs, they use as sensory receptors, so a little bit like an antennae, but they are actually legs, and they can grow to be 4 or 5 times longer than the bodies.
Now, the first time you came on, I said no spiders.
You did.
Second time on, you brought Charlotte the tarantula.
Indeed.
Now you brought this thing, and you know what? It's really cute.
They're fantastic. I love these animals. And the link Harry and Hermione is because they appeared in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. In one of the scenes there, the 3 deadly curses, I think it was. They use these animals. And if you actually see that film and you didn't know they were real animals, you'd think they were made up.
They do look a bit CGI, don't they?
They do. They absolutely don't look like a real creature at all.
Have you ever seen the film Starship Troopers?
Yes.
With the big alien bugs?
Yeah.
That looks like a big alien bug.
Well,
because are they front legs? Are they pincers? What are they?
So these are legs, the long thin things. They're part of the 8-leg structure. And then the thicker folded things here at the front, they're called palps or pedipalps. Okay. And they're effectively arms. They're jointed here, and they can open them up, and they're spiked on the inside. I don't know whether we can see that against my skin. So they're spiked on the inside with pincers on the end.
So I'm guessing those small, are they hairs? Are they...
They do have some very small sensory hairs on there as well.
They grab onto prey and then they can gobble them up.
So these legs they'll use in the dark, and they tap the bugs on the back to make them think there's something behind them. They run forwards, open the arms up, and once they've got them inside, they can clamp down with the spikes, hold them with the pincers, and then they have moving mouth parts to cut up their food.
Would you be able to
have a little hold?
Yeah, Harry. Yeah. Is this Harry or Hermione?
I think we've got Harry again. So he's got a slightly larger abdomen.
Hello.
So if he does move around your hand, if you gently rotate your hand if he moves around, and then he'll be absolutely fine.
Now, this should be really scary, but it's not. It's actually quite nice.
They are. There is a large misconception, even today, that these animals are dangerous to humans, but they're not venomous. They don't have a nasty bite. And the pedipalps are not really large enough to do you or I any damage at all. They used to think they were very venomous, so a bite or a sting by one of these things would put you in serious danger, but it's just not the case. They're absolutely fantastic.
What would they eat?
Just small bugs, small insects. So they tend to live in tropical or subtropical areas across the planet, usually in rocks and cave systems. And they'll eat the small bugs and beetles that move around in there. As I said before, using the long front legs to trick the bugs into thinking there's something behind it. So really quite a clever little animal, really.
Well, from being scared of spiders to then holding a tarantula to holding this.
That very first week, and you said definitely no spiders. And now you've held 2 arachnids 1 week after the other.
Cute.
Or 1 month after the other. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, I'll let Harry go back to Hermione.
Okay.
Oh, you can hardly feel it.
You can't. They're very, very light in weight.
So from Taylor Swift scorpions, that's the name of them now. Tailless.
There'll always be a Taylor Swift scorpion, yeah.
You know what, she is a man-eater. Let's go on to our next one, which is Matilda. Named after the Roald Dahl character?
Named after the Roald Dahl character, yeah, it's one of their all-time favourite books and films. So that was a definite Matilda had to be one of the animals. So Matilda is a similar animal to ones that we get in the UK, but she's a little bit bigger scale.
Okay.
So she's what we call a giant African land snail. So we'll put that there for a second, because obviously snails like to be wet rather than dry.
So we won't mention garlic or herbs around.
Try not to mention any garlic or herb things on there. Let me see it. She's munching on some lettuce.
Oh, hecky thump!
So
Matilda.
let's see if we can get the wood off there, just to make her a bit more comfortable.
So kids would find this in their back garden, but not as big as Matilda.
Not quite this scale, no. So Matilda she's about 4 years old now, 4.5 years old. She's a giant African land snail, which is one of the biggest land species. You can get a lot bigger sea snails, but as a land snail, she's one of the biggest species. She could grow a little bit more. If you look round here, where the body, we can get that on there, where the body comes out of the shell, that's where the new shell growth is. So if you very, very gently, if you run your finger down there, the shell will be soft.
Oh wow!
So that's the new shell growth.
It's like putty.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, and obviously they don't take the shells off so that the shells grow.
And
so
the shells that they grow are theirs, only theirs.
So if you look at the very end of the tip of a tail as well, that's about the size she was when she hatched out of her egg.
Oh, bless. And which one's her eyes?
Okay, so the two tentacles or stalks on the top, she's got her eyes on the end there. And if you look, I don't know whether you'll be able to pick that up on camera or not, but there's some tiny, tiny black dots on the end of there, and they are her pupils.
And can she see me now, or does she have a different way of seeing?
So it'd be more movement than anything else, so not terrific eyesight. And then she's got two smaller tentacles on the bottom there for smell and touch. So she can use those to smell and touch the ground as she's moving along.
She is actually looking at me.
They're brilliant, aren't they?
So are they just like a big muscle?
Yeah, effectively, yeah. The body is a muscle. There's no skeletal structure in there. What we call a mini beast. So they have no spine or internal skeleton. So it's just pure muscle there at the front moving. And this is a calcium-based shell. So you want to have a little hold of.
Yeah. Do they have a central brain, or do they just have a nervous system? How do they work?
No, there is a brain in there.
Oh, that's weird, but nice. Hello.
It's really strange, isn't it? They have a main foot underneath, which is a central part of the body underneath, and the frilly bit around the outside is usually referred to as a skirt. So you'll see the skirt, that's the bit that's going to lift up as she moves around. So it's a bit like, if you remember, think of a hovercraft.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like that.
You can feel her muscle, her big foot.
You can.
Just pulsing over my fingers.
So in fact,
it's amazing.
If you spray the side, we'll do this actually when we move on to Sapphire. I'll just spray the side of the tank, see if we can get a move in on the side of the tank, because it's like almost like a very, very tiny ripple movement like this. And you can actually see the lines moving across the foot.
How long can she stay stuck to, say, the side of glass?
Pretty much as long as she wants, really. So once she's on, that's it. It's a really, really good seal, which is why you should never pull a snail off by the shell, because the chances are you're going to tear or rip something here. Yeah. Because once she's on something, that's it. So if you want to take her off the side, she's on the side saying you want to take her out, you just spray with water and then slide until she's free of the side. This
is going to be a stupid question, but I like to ask you the stupid questions because you don't judge me. Do these hang around in sort of groups like families, or are they pretty solitary creatures?
Not really, they're pretty solitary. I only ever keep one because they're what we call hermaphrodite. So they have both sets of sexual organs. Okay. So if you get two together, the chances are you're going to have a lot of eggs. They can lay usually about 250 to 300 eggs at a time.
Well, we've only got a couple of minutes left.
Okay,
sadly.
Fantastic.
So thank you, Matilda.
A little bit of tissue there to just dry your hands.
What we're going to look at next is sort of similar to something that we've had on before. Now, you brought on a couple called Wallace and Gromit.
Well remembered, excellent.
And they were sandfish.
Sandfish, yes.
And they were skinks.
Skinks, excellent.
And they looked really weird in that they looked like really small snakes.
Yes.
With legs.
Yeah,
This is also a skink.
It is. So
but it's not that small.
It is what we call a blue-tongued skink. So she's a little bit bigger scale than the sandfish. So I don't know whether you remember some size of the sandfish, probably about, what, 5 inches long?
Oh, 5 inches, yeah.
Sapphire is a little bit.
Whoa!
So she potentially could reach maybe 2 feet in length in total. She's probably not too far away from that actually now. So she's about 6-7 years old. And these are native to Australia in the wild parts of Southeast Asia as well.
So before looked a bit more like a snake with little legs. This has got lizard legs, scaly back like a snake, a snake's head, but like a big jowl as well, like a frog.
Yeah, she's got the big jowls, quite a large...
I don't know if you can see, but hello, Sapphire.
Excellent.
Sapphire has also got massive ears. There you go. Look at those ears.
Now they are a burrowing creature in the wild, and they've got almost a method for catching the dust and dirt in those ears. And when they shed their skin, they'll pop out some little sacs that have collected all the dust and dirt. So it keeps her ears nice and clean.
And does she shed like a snake? Because she feels absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, she has just shed. They do shed the skin. It normally comes off in bits rather than the full shed like the snake. Just got to be careful of the tips of the tail and the claws. I think you spotted just a little piece of skin on one of the claws earlier, Dan. Got to make sure if that's still on, just give her a foot little soak. Very gently peel it off. Never try and pull it off if it's on the claws, because you can damage the toes. But that needs to be clear. Needs to be free, otherwise they can get infections and toes can fall off and things.
You take all these animals, the whole menagerie of them, into schools and workplaces, and sometimes even like parties for companies. But Animals Intuition, thank you for coming in, Andrew.
No problem. Absolutely fantastic.
I don't really want to let Sapphire go. Bye, Sapphire.
She is awesome.
You are lovely, aren't you? You are lovely. Okay, right. Next, Stephen and AJ will be back with their Something to Say, live here on the Blue Bonquettes. This is the Daily Rundown on Channel 7, and we love animals. Yes.